everybody, this is Frankie Abbruzzino with an Uncensored Report, and today I want to talk a little bit about the Justice Department, and I'm not necessarily going to talk about the concerns I have with the Hillary campaign. That's a whole other rant that we can do. But I want to talk a little bit about how she's handled the Eric Garner case. And no matter what you believe, if he's guilty or not guilty, should this officer be convicted or not, we got to look at some different aspects of it. So just to cover, just a refresher, this is a Staten Island. This grand jury came back and they said, look, we're not going to indict this officer, this New York police officer right there. And because we don't think he did any criminal wrongdoing. And that the chokehold, when he was doing that, he was putting it on Eric Garner, that basically he wasn't trying to hurt him or kill him, so we're not going to follow through. And this was done in New York, obviously, in Staten Island. And Loretta Lynch said, basically, I'm not happy with that. I understand that you guys didn't find him guilty, but I'm going to go ahead and change it up and reassign this. And she ends up putting in basically what you could call a racist ideologue from the DOJ's Civil Rights Division. And he went in, and next thing you know, this guy, this Pentaleo officer, is charged criminally. And it's a little disgraceful. And why is it disgraceful? You might be saying, well, look, I wanted the Justice Department to come into this case, and I wanted them to do something to this officer. And that may be the case. I think they were a little overly aggressive here too, myself. But when you allow them to come in and do this and bypass the decisions and the jurisdictions and just go in there and create what they call the Loretta Lynch Lit Club, then you're allowing it to happen in other cases. And it's just opening that Pandora box, which we cannot have. We can't have our Justice Department out there just doing some kind of fishing expedition until they get the decision they like. And again, I tell you, you may want that decision in this case, but you're not going to want it in every single case out there. That's where tyranny comes in. This guy, this Eric Garner, big guy, 43, he died. They said he was resisting. I don't know if, and I personally think it was excessive. Sorry, I do. But they said he was resisting. The police came in. He was out there trying to sell some cigarettes. They call them Lucy's. 4 officers there. They attempted to take him down. Eric Garner was he's a big guy. He's hard to take down. They were unable to cuff him, so they wanted to get some leverage, and I guess they're trained to do this, and they get him that little chokehold. Eric was out there. I can't breathe. Everybody's heard it. I can't breathe. 11 times. He died then of a cardiac arrest on his way to the hospital. And the medical examiner basically came out and said, yeah, it was due to the compression on his neck, the chokehold, during the restraint where they were trying to get him handcuffed. But here's the thing, though. In order for the justice system to convict this officer, Pentaleo, the grand jury would have to prove that this police officer was intentionally, here's the key word, guys, intentionally trying to kill Eric. Manslaughter charges would require that there's a conclusion that Pentaleo were aware that he was going to seriously injure this guy, Garner, and that he proceeded after knowing that. And I don't think anybody can say that unequivocally, that this officer's intent was to hurt this guy. His intent was to try to control him, restrain him. And all the officers on the scene, they were all offered immunity to testify to this grand jury. There was a 23-member grand jury. And guess what? They included 9 non-white jurors. So it wasn't an all-white juror. They heard the testimony. Pentaleo insisted, I didn't intend to harm him. I didn't intend to kill him. Obviously, anybody knows anything would know that. So the grand jury came back and they said, that's it. We're not going to indict this guy. He shouldn't be indicted, this officer. But Eric Holder came in and he said, well, that's it. The DOJ is going to conduct a full investigation because this is one of recent deaths across the country that tested the trust, the sense of trust that people have in law enforcement. And, and he said this at the time. He said, hey, this is not a New York issue. This is, or a Ferguson issue all alone. But there, you know, you talk to federal officials, federal agencies that are familiar with the case. They say, no, it is. It's another example of a racially charged mayor ignoring the facts, which is Blue Ocio at the time. And the Justice Department's coming in. They're ignoring recommendations by seasoned FBI agents, by an assistant United States attorney, and they're saying this was a gross miscarriage of justice. And we need to take action. So we're not going to listen to you. We're going to take action. We're going to move forward. And, you know, just compared to, let's do a comparison here. You know how they say that. We're not going to ignore evidence. We're just going to move forward. And compared to this, the FBI should never destroy evidence or purposely ignore something like Hillary's email case. Loretta Lynch of the Justice Department. She should have never met Bill Clinton on the airport tarmac, which was purely coincidental, why his wife is under investigation by the Justice Department. But that's the nation we live in. That's the reality of the situation, where politics is has supplanted the rule of law, that seeks an indictment against police officers to appease angry mobs and ignore the rule of law. Evidence was presented to the grand jury. They took a vote, 29 people, not all white. They said they don't want to move forward with the indictment. He didn't legally do anything. He wasn't trying to kill the guy. And, you know, a lot of people, while, you know, it's a presidential election, the elections are in 4 days. And this election should be about, and it is about, so in some ways, preserving the rule of law. And it's important. But it's hard when you got an election like with Hillary Clinton. She's basically being viewed by many people as just a corrupt individual. And she's been given a free pass by the highest law enforcement agencies. You got Donald Trump. He's flawed. He's a flawed candidate. But it's a gargantuan difference between electing a president who might be problematic, like Hillary, and electing one that has demonstrated a track record out there. Actually, this is more Hillary, of malfeasance and utter contempt for national security. And you can say, oh, you're political, you're on the right. No, that is factual. That is factual, folks. Just look at the emails that were hacked and given to WikiLeaks. The bar is so unreasonably high. There's no way a prosecutor can establish if Clinton broke the law. But the Justice Department has few qualms about presuming that these beat cops basically broke the law. And in a stunning announcement, the FBI came out. You know, back to Clinton. Hey, we're reopening the case. That should have never been closed. That should have never been altered. The nation's thoroughly compromised Attorney General has applied the same standard of justice on the presidential candidate, or she should apply the same justice on this presidential candidate as she is on this beat cop. She objects to Comey coming out and notifying Congress about the latest developments. Why is it that Hillary gets a pass and the lynch mob comes down on this beat cop? And here's a prediction out there that this cop will end up getting indicted, might go to jail, who knows. Nothing's going to happen to her. The double standards will carry on as long as that Justice Department is politicized by people like Gardner, like Lynch. It's got to come to an end. This has been Frankie Abruzzino with an Uncensored Report.